Hello everyone, Sakura here. I'm back with another video for you guys. If you guys are wondering why I sound like a dying moose, I am very sick recently. Alright, so I'm gonna try my best to do this video for you guys. I'm gonna go cry a river after this because when editing, don't want to hear my voice already prior to being sick, but now it's gonna be so irritating. So today we are going to be talking about the dolls and then the haunted doll trio, but it's not really a trio because there was a ventriloquist dummy that I was supposed to do research for. He wasn't really that well known. They also kind of call Gondola we're going to be talking about also Charles, or is it Lord Charles? I forget, but technically I think Robert the doll and Charles were the reason why Chucky was inspired, or at least Slappy from like Goosebumps, I think. I don't fully remember. I'm trying, but also again, forgive me, I'm sick. Okay, I've been suffering for like a whole week before I even recorded this video, so I apologize. Anyway, so we are talking about Annabelle, and she's well known because of her connection to Ed and Lorraine Warren. People don't like Ed or Lorraine Warren, which I really don't understand, is because like to me, I don't know, it's just like the controversy going on with them is just like weird, but also I think people are just going after them because they're dead and they can't really like, they're easy targets. Can't really, prove or say anything anymore about anything. So, but yeah, no, because they took Annabelle into their like museum, a museum of occult items. I think that's what that's called. I think it is. I could be wrong, but it wouldn't be the first time either. Ow.
No dying.
I coughed and it hurt all right here. I felt that in my ears too. And that could be I have swollen tonsils, and that's why around this time of night it literally starts because I can't sleep, so it sucks. And it doesn't matter how many times I rub, it sucks. So Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll, and she was a gift to a student nurse from her mother in 1970. And this video is going to be so hard to do. I apologize, guys, because I keep trying not to cough, and I coughed like 2 seconds ago, and it hurt. I could feel it in my ears and shit. Excuse my swear, though, but it doesn't matter how many times like I rub, because I have swollen tonsils as well as being sick, and it's horrible. It's like the worst pain ever. And like I'm recording this at like around like 8 or 9 o'clock before I go to bed, and I have to take the NyQuil after this, so I'm gonna try not to die. But the last cough that I had was so bad. And yes, I got Eddie Munson. I got him at Walmart recently. He's adorable. Look at him. I love Eddie. I really love Stranger Things. Eddie's my favorite. He's the best of season 4, literally. He's literally like the perfect character ever. Okay, so things of what Annabelle can do, or what she has said to be done. She can move around like on her own. She doesn't need help to be able to move, obviously. She's kind of like a poltergeist kind of thing. She can also leave notes and everything else, which is actually pretty dope. I mean, it's scary. It's horror movie shit, but that's also pretty cool that she's that intelligent, honestly. Like, I think that's dope, in my opinion. And the way that she'd write is, it would seem like a child was writing it instead. The original owner of Annabelle called... Oh, I can't read what I wrote. I don't even know what I wrote. This is like...
First time I've ever seen somebody struggle to read their own handwriting.
No, it's because, like, I know what I wrote, but I'm also sick. So it's like reading it again. And I just don't remember what I meant by it. Because I think it's called Annabelle blank. Who told the nurse? That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, because I don't think I wrote the owner's name or whatever, because technically it doesn't say it. They talked about it in the Ryan and Shane episode when they talked about then. I should have watched that video for the research, but I didn't. The nurse who was in college, and that Annabelle was possessed by a 17-year-old girl. Oh, no. They called... Okay, no, sorry. Okay, I know what I said. So what I wrote down is that the original owner of Annabelle called a medium. It's because I put the A so close to medium. That's why I couldn't read what I said. That's just me being a dumb person. Alright, I'm stupid. But, no, because the medium told the owner, the nurse who was in training in college, that Annabelle was really possessed by a 7-year-old girl. But technically, I don't think that's probable. Because I think that something else haunts her. Because, in my opinion, if Annabelle was technically possessed by a 7-year-old girl, wouldn't it make less sense that she would be terrifying? And also, from what I remember from the episode from Ryan and Shane, is that Annabelle strangled somebody. So I'm like, are you really sure that this is from like a 7-year-old? Possessed by a 7-year-old? I feel like that there's something worse attached to Annabelle, in my opinion, because like it doesn't make sense, because why would she be like this malicious? You see what I mean? Like, why would she be like doing some pretty like intense stuff, and then two is more like, there goes Eddie. He fell out of my arms. But yeah, so practically, I just don't think that she's possessed by a 7-year-old girl, because why would she be like a malevolent spirit at that point? Like, why would a 7-year-old girl be that, like, not like terrifying, but like do so much bad stuff, if that makes sense? Because she did more than just strangle somebody, like, from what I remember. Like, she's caused a lot of havoc by just being encased in glass too, by the way. Okay, so when the Warrens got her into the mix, they took Annabelle and brought her to the Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut, which is their museum. That's where they confirmed that Annabelle's truly demonically haunted. Again, I do honestly think that out of like all haunted objects, I really do think that Annabelle is like possessed by a demon, in my opinion, but that's just me. That's how I think of it, because there's no way that she's possessed by a 7-year-old girl. But I can understand why the medium would say that, because you can't really believe mediums in the first place, because a lot of them are fake. But it's also because of the fact Ed and Lorraine were able to figure out that obviously it's more, because as I said before, Annabelle straight up choked somebody. Are we not gonna bring that up? Like, when you look up Annabelle, like, they don't talk about that. They don't. Or at least from when I was doing the research, they didn't. Because it was just, when you looked up Annabelle, it was just a summary every time. And it was just a basic level information. It wasn't more information. Besides the stuff about Ed and Lorraine Warren. For the movie fiction, Annabelle wasn't Raggedy Ann doll. She was a porcelain doll. Which would make more sense, because people would, when you think about the doll, you think of a Victorian doll that's made out of porcelain, and you would think that a little girl haunts it again. You can literally be like any type of spirit, and you can attach yourself to technically anything. So like, say like if I died, I could attach my spirit to Eddie Munson here. This doll, he's not haunted. I got this at Walmart recently, so no. I mean, he did fall into my arms like 2 minutes ago, but that was nothing paranormal. He just dipped out, I guess. He didn't want to be here, I guess. But no, that's for the fiction. And then also, in a lot of Annabelle movies, she's also tied to the Conjuring House, and that's why they kind of have the movie doll at the Conjuring House, I think. I could be getting that wrong, possibly, but I think that. But also, again, obviously, the books and the movies are more exaggerated than real life, which, again, they want to make it interesting so you can read it. Makes sense. Okay, so the second doll, which is Robert the doll. In my opinion, I'm more afraid of Robert, but this is because his story is kind of, to me, is more intense, in my opinion. And also, like, he's not from 1970, he's from 1904, technically. So in 1904, Robert Eugene Otto, a young boy from Key West, Florida, was given a handmade doll from a servant in his family's home. The doll was made likely by I can't pronounce that, the Steiff company. I legitimately can't say that, so I just spelled it out instead. Not making that up. Especially with me being sick, it's gonna sound worse, so no, we're not doing that. Oh, okay, so, company of Germany, and was dressed in a sailor suit. So it was either Mark or Jeffrey, right, who brought up this idea for this video. They get credit for this. Shout out to those beautiful people. But like, it's just like, they got Robert confused with the third doll. So it's kind of like, it was funny because they were like, oh, the one in the sailor suit. Because I remember, like, my last live stream, like, the one before I did tonight, the same one that I'm recording us, because Monday, so it's the 2nd of December? That's what I said. Okay, so I'm like, 2nd of December, because yesterday was the 1st, because yesterday was Sunday. So, yeah, it makes sense. And then, so they got Robert confused with Charles, which Charles is supposed to be the ventriloquist doll who's also haunted, but at the point, because I was more focused on Robert and Annabelle, so at that point I just decided to scrap it, and I couldn't really find anything about Charles or Lord Charles, because it just wouldn't come up, because when I would look it up, like, Chucky and Child's Play would come up, and that's not who I was trying to fucking look up, by the way, so it was just, like, pardon my swear, I apologize, but I'm just saying, like, that's not who I was looking up, so I was like, okay. So it's just going to be me talking about Annabelle and Robert and Otto, practically. Otto had named the doll Robert, and the two became inseparable. When I wrote this down on my notes, I said, and two, Robert and two, instead of Robert and the two. Grammar became inseparable. At least I punctuate right, apparently. Okay. Otto and Robert were best friends, and Otto would blame Robert for misbehaving. For example, and then I listed some examples, or at least one, I guess. The example of the misbehavior was when Otto was 10 and he would wake up to find Robert sitting at the end of his bed, and his mother heard screams and furniture being overturned in his room. So technically, so what happened was, like, Robert would literally sit at the end of Otto's bed, because they kind of, he named the doll after himself, I believe. But anyway, so when I refer to the boy, I'm going to refer to him as Otto, and then doll is going to be referred to as Robert, so you guys don't get confused. Practically, what would happen was, like, Robert would be sitting at the end of his bed, tormenting the poor kid. Sometimes he would just sit there and just giggle, and that's just terrifying. Again, this would be at night, bruh. And considering he lived in Florida, like, the humidity, and if it was very hot at night, waking up to that is 10 times worse than, like, if you lived up here in North Massachusetts, it's less. But also, his parents thought that Otto was doing it and not the doll, because obviously, logically, you're not gonna know that it's the doll. You would think that it's your son playing a prank on you. That's what they thought that was happening at first. But that poor child had to go through a lot with this with Robert. Jeez. Again, this is why Robert kind of terrifies me more than Annabelle. But I respect both of them very much. I respect anything that's haunted. After studying art in New York and Paris, Otto and his wife Annie, it's Anne. It's either her name is Annie or it's Anne, but it's not her. Her name is spelled Anne, not Annie. Returned to Key West, and they moved into the Otto home, which was where Otto grew up. And they also had a daughter, by the way. When they got to the Otto home, Robert was upstairs in the windowsill. Since living in the house, Otto and Annie would hear Robert moving objects and hearing him giggling, which is creepy as heck. And before I fully finished reading that, so when I was doing the research eventually, I found that, like, Annie really hated Robert because she did not like Robert at all. And it sucks that, like, so she talked about it to Otto so much that they locked him in the attic eventually. Anyway, I'm gonna continue. Robert would always watch Otto and Annie with his gaze before they locked him in the attic. They eventually did, which makes sense. After Otto and his wife passed away in 1994, Robert the doll was donated to the East Martrello Museum in Key West. After doing the research for Robert, I really just wanted to see what Key West looks like for Florida so much.
I've been there. It is nice.
Yeah. I've only been to Florida once, and I only went to Venice. And it is nice, just don't go swimming in Venice Beach. There's stuff, like, floating in the water that you guys do not want to see. It's not good. There are rules to when seeing Roger Roger the doll at the museum. So when you're visiting Robert, you have to greet him specifically, and then you if you want to take photos with him, you have to ask before you take them. If you don't follow these rules, you're probably gonna end up dead. Just so you know. And that's not me being sarcastic. You do have to respect haunted objects for sure, especially Annabelle and Robert. They can do a lot of damage. A lot of people did end up dead or badly injured in general. Like, there's reports about it. Kind of like the video that I did about the haunted car. I forget who that was. He was a popular actor too, and he bought like a haunted car, and he got warnings about it because people didn't get a good vibe from the car, and then he ended up getting in a really bad accident, and then people rebuilt the car so many times, and then it had so many owners, and then they all end up either dying or getting hospitalized for life and stuff, and then they finally stripped it, and they have that in the museum too. Yeah, don't disrespect that either, even though it's a car, which I know it sounds ridiculous. If you disrespect that object too, you're doomed as well. And then the third rule is you also need to tell him goodbye before leaving. So you, like, if you forgot to say goodbye, you have to go back, say goodbye, and then apologize. And then you practically have to grovel at his feet, practically. And that's not funny. In 1974, when Gene Otto's 10-year-old daughter, he had a 10-year-old daughter, found Robert, she was very happy to have him around, but then soon after having him around for even just a little bit, the activity started up, and she noticed that, like, Robert was a little sus. I don't mean that in a bad way, but she noticed that he was off, and he was acting like he was alive, and it scared her, because what he was doing to her father was happening to her, practically. So, and again, Robert and Annabelle should be very much respected. I know that Ryan and Shane, when they did the video, because I don't think they ever saw Robert the doll. They didn't, but they did talk about him in a video. I remember that. They did visit Annabelle, though. And then Ryan was just... I love them both. They're hilarious, especially, like, their BuzzFeed Unsolved. I fell in love with them for that, and I can't watch other people do it at all. It has to be Ryan and Shane, because I'm picky, okay? I suck. Anyway, so Robert has the ability to cause harm to people because he's able to trash rooms. He has trashed Otto's room. Everyone thought that Otto did it, but it was actually, in fact, Robert. And again, that sucks. Like, again, the poor Otto was, like, telling the truth the whole time, and nobody believed him. But again, it makes sense because adults normally don't believe kids in the first place, and that's all I have for that. So I very much respect both Annabelle and Robert the doll, and I do feel so horrible to poor Otto, because Otto had to suffer as a child. Again, imagine, like, having, like, a haunted doll when you're a kid, and then nobody believing you, and then I'm not laughing, I'm coughing. I'm trying so hard not to cough. Oh, my back is messed up again. I hate my life. I'm sick, my back hurts, I want to die. I literally had a bloody nose before this, too. Not that you guys need to know, but I did. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. So, yeah, I know what it was like to wake up as a child, and then, like, you have, like, a doll at night, and then how creepy it is, even when it's not haunted. So, like, and then every time, like, I think of, like, haunted dolls, I think of, like, Poppy's Playtime, even though that they're not haunted, technically, due to the lore of the game, but they are also at the same time.
I had a Furby. That thing felt like it wanted me dead.
Why?
I don't know, but all of them were. All of them. Nobody says they have a good experience with a Furby.
We had like 3 or 2, and we were fine. I mean, they were creepy when the batteries died, but like the 2000 ones, like with their mouths, like the way that they had like the silicone like plastic or whatever, it feels so fucking weird. It feels so weird.
I had a 98 Furby, no batteries in it ever. It would just pick up radio signals sometimes and play them, and then talk at a really low voice.
You had a haunted Furby. Oh my god. I didn't know that he was gonna say anything at the beginning of this video, so that's quite interesting. Thank you for sharing. I'm also very surprised because, wait, so it was in 1994, right?
98.
1998. Yeah, it can't operate without batteries. That there's no way. I mean, like the newer Furbies are like you can attach them, you can link them to your phone. So technically, it wouldn't. There's been like creepypastas about Furbies too being haunted too. So oh Jesus, I never had any haunted dolls, but like I would always feel like some of the dolls that my grandmother would have, like I don't get me wrong, like I love dolls as a kid, but like I like Toy Story also made me scared too at sometimes. So like sometimes when I would be changing, I had to, for some dolls or some stuffed animals, I had to turn them around while I was changing because like I felt like they were staring at me, or like I felt like somebody placed like a camera in them or something to fuck with me or something. Sorry for my swear, but like I'm keeping that swear in though. And then also sometimes like when the batteries would die for the Build-A-Bears. Surprisingly, my first Build-A-Bear ever, the voice box still works somehow, and that's from like the 2000s, bruh. And oh, it sounds so creepy. Sounds so creepy.
My Furby would sometimes say something like "Waka laka chuka,"
Why? Oh, don't make me laugh. It hurts so bad. Oh, Jesus.
and on occasions I would put it on one shelf and wake up in like the middle of the night, like 3 a.m. Everybody's still asleep, and it's on a different level of the shelf. Not on a different spot on the shelf, a different level of the shelf.
My sister and my older brother, right? Me and my sister shared a room, right? So, like, my sister liked to mess with me so bad, and I hate it. Because she would take my toys, or she would take my blankie or whatever and move it. And then I used to sleep with my blankie all the time. And then even when, like, I would always notice when it was gone, because I had bad insomnia as a kid. So I'd wake up just to go find it, and I would freak out. And then sometimes my sister would have my blankie just to mess with me, and I would cry. She felt bad afterward, but she also thought it was extremely funny. My brother used to make jokes about like the boogeyman and stuff like that, but they'd used to take my stuff and then move it at night, and then they would randomly wake up and then be like, ooh, in the background. They did it so creepily too, and then they would mess with, they would have the closet open. I could not have the closet open when I was a kid. It had to be shut. Always had to be shut. Even now, I have to make sure sometimes I wake up and my closet door is open and it was shut the night before. And this is this house, not my old house. But like sometimes but also sometimes our cats would also open because there was a hole open from the basement, and then they could go up through the pipe area, because me and Brianna's room was like right behind the bathroom. So there's a way for like Licorice and Kato to come upstairs, and that was both of our cats. Licorice recently passed away. Like we got her ashes here, but Kato was years ago. We still gotta place the photo for Licorice's memorial. Yeah, I didn't really have any haunted dolls, but sometimes I would feel like there were. But it was my siblings messing with me. But they also knew that I was too smart to, even back then, I was aware that they were messing with me. And then I did have some haunted stuff from like an estate sale up the street, right? And I got a lot of stuff from that. Like pretty, like I got a beautiful like porcelain cross in there, and I need to steal that from my old room to bring it here, because like I want to hang that up on the wall. But I'm gonna be scared to do that because I don't want to knock it off either. Anyway, but like we also got some stuff. Like I got some music boxes from there, and I don't even touch it, and I look at it and it just starts fucking playing randomly. And then I would be sleeping at night. There's one in my room and then there's one in the living room. Sometimes I would sleep in the living room, just turns on. I didn't even touch it. And it plays. And it was from an old man's house. He had really nice porcelain music boxes, and they turn. And then I look up, and then my sister would hear it from my room too when she used to live with us, and she'd be like, "Did you turn on the music boxes?" I'm like, "Nope, they're just playing." If I wound them up or twisted the thing during the day, sometimes it would just randomly play afterwards. So maybe it wasn't fully done the first time, but it's still creepy. I mean, technically, I can't prove that was haunted, but to me, I think it was, because it would just be, or like I would hear him playing at night and it wasn't even moving. So I'm like, why? I'm just like, and it like I'm not upset that like the ghost was haunting me. I'm just upset because I'm trying to sleep and you're just trying to be creepy. Like, please just let me sleep. I have a hard time sleeping already, but like, Jesus Christ. It is what it is. This is a long enough video, so I apologize, guys.
One more thing about my Furby.
Oh, God.
I slept on the top bunk, so I had the bedposts cut off there. One night, and it only happened once, I woke up in the middle of the night and he was sitting on one of the bedposts, looking straight at me.
How come you never told me this until now?
I
That's
don't
the
know.
thing. Like, this is the first time I'm hearing about this, but also thank you for this. Like,
We had him in a duffel bag full of clothes we didn't wear and stuck in the closet. He was loud enough that we could hear him from inside of it. And after we took him out, we checked to see if he had batteries. Nope, we disassembled him to see if he had like auxiliary batteries. No, he didn't. And he still wouldn't shut up after his parts were disconnected.
do you still have it?
No.
Oh, Jesus. Where did you even get it from? Oh, my
I don't know. We just had it.
chose you guys to haunt, I guess, and eventually, obviously, it had its runtime. It's gone now, so thank God. Normally, when you try to get rid of like haunted stuff, they end up coming back. But then again, that could also just be fiction. It's still funny how we both have haunted shit in our houses. There's other stuff that I got from that estate sale that would just like end up moving around the house. And before people say anything, because I brought this up in a different video, and I'm gonna say this before like we end the video. Sorry that this is longer. Like there was an old man that I would see haunting in the basement. I literally saw a ghost apparition, and one was when I had COVID that one time. And then the other time was, there was a couple, like, it was more than once I've seen that old man. And I never seen his face. He was just facing towards the back corner of my fucking basement. Always in the same spot. Or he would be moving or turning around like this, but I never fully saw his face. I don't know who that is. And that was also way before the estate sale. And I don't remember if I saw him after the estate sale because I don't remember. Because I've seen him so many times. But I've only seen my Papa once, and that was in this house, the house that I'm in right now. So, and that was in my grandmother's bedroom, and I was sleeping next to her because she wanted me to sleep next to her, and this was during when she had dementia before she had Alzheimer's. And I was sleeping on his side of the bed, and she had so many experiences about Papa coming back after he passed away, because he would just come and he would still come and talk to her. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, we don't believe that because she could just be heartbroken. My sister was young. She was like 3 years old, 2 years old. Actually, no, she was 2 years old because it was 2000. And this was before I was born, okay? Because I was born at the end of like 2001. So like this was before I was even in my mom's belly, by the way. So way before. And my sister would be going near the vents because they used to talk to each other through the vents when she was younger. He was still coming to play with her after he died. Okay, he would come and still talk to her when he was in his little workshop, his little work area. He would literally come to visit my sister after he died. And if you're gonna tell me, like, oh, that's not true. My sister was a child, and children can see ghosts. And I never experienced technically seeing my papa when I was growing up, but I knew he was there the whole time. And we used to literally go to his grave often. We took care of his grave as a child. So technically walking around in cemeteries is literally second nature to me. I don't think that it's weird. I don't think that it's creepy. I just think it's a normal part of life because of how I grew up. And attending to graves is kind of normal to me, technically. I see people at like the cemetery all the time. People think that it's relaxing to go. So to everybody who think that it's weird, and I'm talking to people who I grew up with at school, this does not include UV, who is helping me with the camera. Thank you.
I also don't find it weird, so.
I know, but a lot of people did, and they used to call me names and shit. So I'm just like, that it is what it is. But they're just being stupid. I know that because like I go to my family cemetery all the time. And I call it my family cemetery because I have friends and family buried there. And that was also one of the places where I almost got abducted, so that's perfect. And that's it. That was during a video that I was recording that too, so that's crazy. But yeah, do you have anything else to add before we end the video? I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and this is Sakura Bro signing out, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next adventure. Peace out, guys.